Welcome back to the home stretch of News Center with me, George Marenga. We thank you for staying with us. Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru now says that she has been approached by front-runners in the presidential race to deputize them, and the talks are ongoing. She has, however, maintained that for now, her focus is on being re-elected for the second term. Waiguru has maintained there is not presidential aspirant from Mount Kenya region with a national stature that will be fronted for the presidency. KTN's Daniel Kariuki caught up with the governor.
All right, thank you very much. And of course, you said it right that Mount Kenya region is slowly turning to be a battleground. And it cannot be ignored that political competitors in the presidential election for the next general election, the 2022 polls, are jostling for the Mount Kenya region, the populous vote-rich region. And of course, we cannot ignore the fact that there are many trips that have been happening here by the presidential contenders, Deputy President William Ruto, ODM leader Raila Odinga, Sin Musalia Mudavadi of the ANC party, and also Kalonzo Musyoka of the Wiper Party. And of course, those are some of the issues that we'll be discussing with the Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru, matters to do with politics and the national politics as well as development and the Mount Kenya region in particular. Of course, we cannot ignore that she holds a position that she can talk about these matters. Thank you very much, Governor, for joining us here on KTN News and, of course, giving us this opportunity to discuss these matters, matters politics, matters Mount Kenya unity, matters 2022 politics. And to begin with, we talk about the Mount Kenya region itself before we talk about the 2022 election. Here in the county, of course, we will be discussing that later on, but we start with the Mount Kenya region. I have seen you host several presidential contenders lately, and all of them are seeking to consolidate their base here in the Mount Kenya region. But at the same time, Mount Kenya region seems to be a region that is turning to be a battleground. And people are saying Mount Kenya region might not be having a presidential aspirant in the 2022 election. From where you sit, maybe can you tell us what's the situation in Mount Kenya region as you speak?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I think I don't take it for granted that you've taken the time to come all this way to Kirinyaga, and feel welcome. The situation in Mount Kenya right now is very interesting. In fact, I don't think in the recent history we have found ourselves in this kind of situation, where we are not the ones determining because of having a known and accepted presidential candidate at this point in time. And there is a general assumption that the Mount Kenya region will not be fielding a main, I'm not talking about people being interested, but a main political, let's say the main horses being from Mount Kenya. And therefore, those who have been considered as frontrunners in the country have trooped to Mount Kenya to look for votes because of our numbers. And we are, I think if you count the entire Mount Kenya, including diaspora, we are going to be having a range of about 9 million votes. And those are many votes. Anyone who commands 50%, 60 or 70, or even 30%, being able to add those numbers to their own votes can actually be the president of this country. And I think that is the interest that we have seen from the frontrunners, spending a lot of their time here, visiting, making friends, and sending signals that they will be seeking the support of this region. So it's a very unique situation. It's because we are in this, is the first time I think we find ourselves in a situation where we are being looked for, as opposed to usually the other times when we lead, because we are united as one to push for one candidate.
In 2022, do you believe you are going to be united as one, pushing for one candidate? Because there have been splinter groups. We've seen there are those who are supporting deputy president, and in fact they have been given, they are being called Tanga Tanga faction. And there are those who are said to be supporting President Uhuru Kenyatta and the handshake team, and in this case being called the Kieleweke faction. And actually, in Mount Kenya region, it seems there is where most of those members, that tussle is happening. So are you going really to move as a united front?
Let me say this. I think many people have misunderstood the meeting on Mount Kenya Unity. I think the Mount Kenya Unity, and you have seen me in those meetings, was want to consolidate a unity of purpose, where we are saying what are the things that Mount Kenya people want, so that whoever ends up as president, this at the bare minimum, irreducible minimum, that we will expect them to give Mount Kenya. That is why the leaders are coming together. In terms of political parties, there are many political parties. Even if you look at the consolidation of these conversations, people are coming from everywhere. Recently, you saw the conversion of leaders comprising of my colleague from the county, Martha Karua, there was Kiunjuri, Peter Kenneth, and there was Moses Kuria, amongst others, and Kabogo. If you look at that, you will find there are those who are hustler, what they call themselves hustler nation, and then there are those who you find are on the Kieleweke, and there are those who do not define themselves with either side. So the issue is not so much about getting us one candidate. The issue is getting us into a unity of purpose where we'll have a sort of memoranda, and we would want to hear which presidential candidate will agree to give us these irreducible minimums, and then consolidate our support towards that presidential candidate because they have accepted on the irreducible minimums. But then also that is a very dicey situation because these things will be negotiated. You cannot dictate to a presidential candidate. And then the leaders also, we are not the ones who determine where electorate go. These presidential candidates will look for votes for themselves. They are not going to come and depend on us. We're not carrying the votes, and then you say, I'm going to carry the votes of Mount Kenya. Right now, there is nobody who can say that in Mount Kenya region are holding the votes of the people in one basket. I don't think so. You will influence how the election will go to a certain extent, but the people of Mount Kenya will decide for themselves who they will vote as the president of this country. What we want to do is to ensure as leaders that we've negotiated for them very well, that even as they choose whoever their candidate, presidential candidate is, that their interests are taken care of because they are not on the table.
Talking about interest, I've also seen the Tanga team, they have their own issues that they have presented to Deputy President, and also this other side, the team that has been meeting that you have just mentioned, they also have the irreducible minimums. So are you going to meet at any point and consolidate all these? Because if Deputy President will be given these minimums and the other one given these, how then are you going to unite to ensure that all these are put into one basket, that this is what we are taking to presidential candidates?
I think the most important thing to think about the irreducible minimums, they are not very different. They really rotate around the issues that we had negotiated in the BBI that did not work. And so they are not very divergent. It's issues to do with agriculture, you know, because that's our mainstay as Mount Kenya. It's issues to do with infrastructural support. It's issues to do with work and employment of our people. It's issues to do with how we will be accommodated in terms of ensuring that the development projects that have been done so far do not regress but keep moving forward. And they're basically the same things. The issues of representation, for example, our numbers, you know, count. And our numbers being 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote, that conversation. And the issue of bringing resources down to the county, the 35%, because that is a very critical issue. We need to have those issues taken care of. So it's going to be general. They will eventually coalesce to a list of maybe about 10 or so in summary. And those are the ones that we will expect to negotiate out there. And what will end up happening, from how I see it, is that the presidential candidates will have manifestos, and they will also choose their running mates, and many of who are considering running mates from Mount Kenya. And then the people then will decide.
Right.
Yeah, but we want to make sure that whoever, and especially the front runners, have our interests and people's interests at heart.
Right, and talking about Mount Kenya being one of the areas that these presidential contenders are actually anticipating to get their running mates. That's what we've seen you welcome Kalonzo Musyoka recently. We've seen you welcome Musalia Mudavadi. Also, I've seen you in meetings with ODM leader Raila Odinga. What are we talking about in this case? Are you considering these presidential contenders? Maybe they might be considering you for a running mate or something.
There have been conversations, and I think they have publicly declared themselves that they have. We've had conversations. It's nothing firmed up. We haven't quite confirmed. And let me say I'm very honored to have had those kind of gestures presented towards me, because I don't take it for granted. It's not every day that you get people thinking that they can consider you as a running mate. It's a sign of respect and people thinking that you have something to offer. So I don't take it lightly, and I don't like to discuss it lightly, because it's really a great honor. So all I can say right now is that I have been in conversations with various people. I have other proposals as well. There's that which you have seen. I have others which have to do with parties. Remember, I had talked about considering another route. And there are other people who have, for example, said, you know, we have this party, you can be a party leader. So I'm considering other options as well to see which is the best way for me politically as a politician, and also as a leader in this country. How best can I play my role to ensure that I am achieving the objectives that I need to achieve, both for my people and also at the same time nationally. So yes, there are conversations ongoing. Nothing is firmed up. I have not given any commitment to anybody. I said I'm in a season when I am introspecting. I am listening a lot to my ground, and yeah, so in due course, when the time comes, I will declare where my interests lie, or rather which decision I have made, because I have to analyze these decisions according to the best outcome, depending also on various factors.
Yes, and of course you've talked about matters to do with the parties, and you said even you have been considered it matters to do maybe being a party leader of one of the parties maybe, and you have for some time talked about Jubilee Party and saying that it needs some restructuring or something of sort, and due to this some people have even linked you maybe to ANC Party. They are linked you to coalitions like the One Kenya Alliance, and do you feel like this kind of these parties and these coalitions are going to be parties that can be considered in this region, maybe?
Let me say that Kenya is open, Mount Kenya is open. We are open at democracy, and I think there are very many parties, even in Mount Kenya. It's just that Jubilee is a dominant party, but there are many small parties. Again, even the ones on the table which I mentioned earlier are all parties. But bottom line, to determine the presidential candidate, some parties will have to coalesce to have numbers enough to compete either as a number 1, 2, or 3, you know? I don't think all parties, 7 parties, will have major significance, but if some smaller parties put themselves together, they may have an impact. But bottom line, right now, nationally, as you know, the race is kind of drawn between those 4. You've seen the main 4 formations, and it depends on how those formations coalesce and end up. If they each go differently, and each of them picks a running mate from Mount Kenya, the outcomes will be quite interesting. Quite interesting.
Right. And,
yeah.
and, you know, they have been saying, the people you have met, most of them, the Moses Kurias and the Martha Karua, they have been fighting for having political parties, and we have had Deputy President Wayne talk of moving with UDA. And the issue to do with having one party for the region has really caused some uproar and there are those who are saying they are not going to fold their parties for one party. What's your take about this? Should Mount Kenya move with different parties, or should they come and should they join hands and have one party, one political vehicle that will take them to the 2022 polls?
And again, as I said, this is a democracy. And I think, bottom line, leaders, because we have quite a number of leaders, your leadership capability is determined by your following, you know, the following that you command. And the issue of whether they should join or not join is neither here nor there. I think, bottom line, because even when Jubilee was dominant, there were still other smaller parties. Martha Karua, for example, never folded her party as such, but supported in principle the Jubilee coalition. So I think going forward, the jostling will end because there'll have to be some sort of formation at some point. Everyone has their view, but their views are also defined by their following, you know, and determined by their own institutions. So UDA has a right to say we would like everybody to be in UDA. They have a right because that's the way they have formed their party, and they know that command a certain following. These are the ones also have their democratic right to say then we will not, you know. So bottom line is where we will end up, because there will be all these conversations. This is very normal before an election happens. They will continue with all this conversation, and eventually you will see formations. And I think these formations will surprise very many people. Mm-hmm. Yes, I think it's not going to be as straightforward and predictable as we all think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, people will be assuming that this group will be on that side and this one will be on this side. And then you find that when the negotiations come and decisions are made on this side, that this is going to be the presidential candidate and this is going to be a deputy, there might be a fallout. And then they form another second or third group or move to join the one that they had left. So it's very early. It's very early. I think the most important thing right now for us as leaders in Mount Kenya is to determine those irreducible minimums, yeah. But to predict right now how it's going to be in December, I think it's very early. I think people will be in for quite a number of surprises. Yeah.
It's a wait-and-see situation, you see.
Yes, it is a wait-and-see.
So, of course, we've discussed matters to do with national politics and, of course, what we are looking forward to. Now, you've said that you wouldn't mind maybe to consider a deputy president. But, again, talking about matters to do with Kirinyaga County, so far, you still seeking to re-election for the gubernatorial position, or maybe you are seeking to move to some other position, maybe?
At this point in time, as I speak to you right now, I am seeking to be re-elected as governor of Kirinyaga County. I've been very clear about that. The day that position changes, I'll make it public. But I am campaigning for Governor Kirinyaga County. I am here on the ground. I am serving the Kirinyaga people. That is my focus right now. There are these all other conversations that are going on. They are being considered, but they are being considered in consultation with Kirinyaga people. So when the time comes, we will, if the situation changes, we will announce it. Yeah, but so we are not yet there.
You are ready and prepared to battle it out with any aspirant who comes for the position of the governor's position.
Yes, and I welcome them, all of them. Yeah, this is a democracy. Yeah, they will put their seras on the table, I will put mine, we will campaign, and whoever emerges the winner wins.
And there are talks, others are saying that they might be uniting on one side to have the race and to counter you. Maybe some of the aspirants, they might come together and unite and forge a front as they campaign against you. Are you ready?
That's fine. That is fine. I mean, it's a democracy.
And they have actually linked even senior public servants to this conversation.
It is their right, it's a democratic situation. If they want to combine and campaign against, that's fair enough. I mean, it's a democracy. I think we encourage as many participants as possible to join the race, and however they decide. Even me, I have my own side also which will coalesce and campaign on my side. So tutakutana kwa ground.
So what would you tell the Kirinyaga people in terms of their expectations maybe as you move forward?
I think to the Kirinyaga people, I want to tell them they know very well that we have a track record. We have worked. Here our slogan is Wira Warie. If you look around Kirinyaga, you cannot hide that which we have done. We have a ultra-modern level 5 hospital in Kiruwea. We have upgraded our towns. We have empowered farmers, increased money in their pockets with the projects we're doing under Wezesha Kirinyaga, the poultry project, the pigs, the beekeeping, the tomatoes, all that. We have built factories like the one that is processing food for our cattle. We have worked to improve their breeds. And on infrastructure and roads, they know we have done quite a bit in terms of improvement of infrastructure and continue to do that. So we know that we have worked. We know that we have a good track record. And I'm listening to them because the only thing they tell me, I think you need to rethink how you present yourself. And I'm listening. I have been in consultations. Anybody who has been following me will see I have met women, I'm meeting young people, I'm meeting my ground team, asking them what is the ground saying, what is it that they want. Because bottom line, the Kirinyaga people will determine who is their governor in 2022, and they know that I'm in the race for the seat of governor.
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Governor, of
Thank
course,
you.
for giving us a lot of insights.
Yes.
National politics
Yeah.
and even the county politics, and we're looking forward to having more of this conversation as we progress towards the next general election.
Thank you very much.
Of course, Mount Kenya region remains the region that
Yes.
will make the difference.
It's definitely the region that will decide who is the president come 2022.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anne Waiguru, the Governor, Kirinyaga County, giving us more concerning Mount Kenya region, concerning Kirinyaga County and the political developments in the country. Of course, the political landscape might shift anytime, as she has actually said, and we are going to keep following up to know exactly how the situation will be and the side that Mount Kenya region will be moving towards or leaning towards. But for now, I want to take it back to studio.
Indeed, and we wait to see how all that plays out. Thank you so much, Daniel Kariuki, for that exclusive interview with Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru. And that is where we wind up today's edition of News Center. My name is George Maringa, thanking you for your splendid company for the last 2 hours. Up next is Nicholas Wambua with Leo Mashinani. I'll see you next week. As always, stay safe and be kind to one another. Have a wonderful